You ready? All right, we'll call this meeting to order. Please stand. Ms. Fortner, would you lead us in prayer?
Okay. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day, Lord. Just thank you for the beautiful weather and thank you that we could come here and discuss things. We have that freedom, Lord. And I just pray for all the folks that are in Maui and as it affects so many people, Heavenly Father, is they're the ones that are healing, the ones that are going to have to rebuild, Lord, that people will continue to be aware of that and be able to support them. Be with us in our decision making today. And Lord, thank you for the individuals that are here that are working in our communities as nonprofits, Lord. There's so much that goes on because of the volunteers, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Commissioner Totocini, will you lead us in?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome. Full house today. Love that. Lots of community. All right, regular meeting. Do we have any changes or amendments to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, we do have one. Ms. Wayne is going to present item number 6 with Mr. Stair tonight. Otherwise, the agenda is as presented.
All right.
Okay, you need a motion?
Yes, please.
Okay, I motion that we approve the agenda as is.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any. Motion will carry. All right, consent agenda. Consideration of approval of regular meeting minutes from July 25th, 2023. Consideration of approval of special meeting minutes from August 7th, 2023. Consideration of approval of finance check register for July of 2023. Consideration of approval of treasurer check register for July 2023. Consideration of project for state fire marshal grant funding. Consideration to certify annual inventory. Consideration of approval of SEMAP Section 8 Management Assessment Program Certification. Consideration of approval of update San Juan County Title 6 plan. Anything? And last but not least, consideration of a memorandum of agreement with New Mexico Department of Agriculture and non-native. What is that one?
Russian olives and salt cedar.
Okay. Like that. That's a big, long word. And that is all of the consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, I'd move to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion will carry. All right, new business. Consideration of the proclamation declaring August 17th, 2023 as Nonprofit Day in San Juan County. Mike Stark.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. As you probably know, August 17th, 2023 is National Nonprofit Day, and that's to recognize the immense and positive impacts that nonprofit organizations have on all communities across the nation. But specifically here, staff wanted to bring to you an opportunity to recognize the efforts of our local nonprofits through this proclamation tonight. They serve a vital role in helping deliver services to our community and do so in a safe and effective manner. Have done so during the pandemic as well. And so nice to see just such a full house of nonprofits represented here tonight. Couldn't imagine what our community would look like if we didn't have them providing these vital services to our community. So staff is requesting the commission proclaim August 17th of 2023 as Nonprofit Day in San Juan County. And if you'd like, I'd be happy to read the proclamation if you so
Yes.
wish. Okay. All right. San Juan County, New Mexico, proclaiming August 17th, 2023 as Nonprofit Day. Whereas San Juan County is fortunate to have a number of nonprofit organizations which provide health care, assistance to impoverished, economic development, educational support, and youth programming. And whereas San Juan County recognizes that nonprofit organizations have positive impacts on our community and serve a vital role in facilitating charitable giving and social action. And whereas the nonprofit organizations in San Juan County provide direct care, support our community by providing resources such as access to food, emergency services such as rent and utility assistance. And whereas San Juan County recognizes that nonprofit organizations have been and continue to be essential, assisting citizens through hard economic times, ensuring citizens of San Juan County have access to necessary resources to remain safe and healthy. And now, therefore, the Board of County Commissioners of San Juan County, New Mexico, does hereby proclaim August 17th, 2023 as Nonprofit Day and urges the citizens of San Juan County to support the nonprofit organizations in our community by volunteering or providing in-kind or monetary donations.
All right, thank you. Any comments? Anybody want to say anything?
Are we gonna allow them to introduce themselves?
Yes. Do you want to do that first?
Sure.
So what we'd like to do is just ask each group to come up and just briefly tell who you are and what your organization is and give a little plug to yourself. And then we've got a proclamation that we will hand you. And then at the end, we'd like to gather everybody and get one big, large picture of all the groups together, if that would be all right. So who would like to start?
Go ahead, Mary. Right here.
Just come up and.
Mary Hayes with the Daughters of the American Revolution, and our focus is historical preservation, education, service, and patriotism. And in Aztec and the other San Juan County schools, we do Good Citizen Award, and we do a lot of other things for the communities, including cleaning up veteran grave sites and just a whole host of wonderful activities that we do as volunteers.
And if you introduce yourself, that you're the regent,
I am the current regent. Yes, ma'am.
Mary Hayes. And I'm also a member.
Yes, thank
Desert
you for
Gold, so,
letting us know
yeah,
about this,
Long
Terry.
time.
Thank you.
Great organization for our veterans. Thank you.
All right. Oh, I should have done that right there. Yep.
My name is Elliot Abear. I'm a member of the Three Rivers chapter of the Sons of the American Revolution. We do Eagle Scout programs in San Juan County. We do and fund Boy Scout programs, give awards to Eagle Scouts as they make their way up through the ranks. We participate in flag ceremonies at football games, at meetings of the DAR. They had their workshop this last week in Farmington, and the members of the SAR with a flag delegation, and we posted the colors for their workshop that they had over the weekend. And the SAR does a lot of things for the community. I don't know that we project ourselves into things a lot, but we do most of the Eagle Scout programs. And we're very blessed to have the men that we have in SAR. And we also support the DAR because most of us have ladies that we're married to in the DAR. So we work together with a lot of things too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Lila Westrick, and I am with Shamat Psychosocial Interventions for Youth and Families. I'm new coming back to the community, but we're working very closely with at-risk youth on probation to help them reroute going to jail long-term. We work with the parents. We do quite a few parenting classes. We developed the support groups out of that, and we hire a lot of the parents to work in the groups. So we get more buy-in into them creating their activities with their own children.
Thank you.
See, Audra? You're good at speaking.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing us to come. I'm Audra Winters, and I'm with the San Juan Medical Foundation, and our mission is to enhance the health and well-being of the people of the Four Corners community. We are the fundraising arm for San Juan Regional, and we manage the Kathy Lincoln Memorial Cancer Fund, the Riley Men's Health Fund, and the Conley Hospitality House. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
She's tall and I'm short. So good evening. My name is Jill Adair and I'm the Regional Director with Presbyterian Medical Services. So we serve all of San Juan County. The programs that we have are our Farmington Community Health Center, which there we do medical, dental, behavioral health, and mid-management. We also have our Total Behavioral Health Program. And that program there really works with that inebriate population and the homeless population. And we also work really close with the court system to try to get those individuals off the streets and into some housing and get some stability. Then we also have our early intervention program, which is Roundtree Children's Developmental Services. And that program, we work with children birth to 3 with disabilities. We have our Adults with Disabilities program, and that's through the DD waiver. And then we also have our Children's Services. And Children's Services there, we do Head Start, Early Head Start, Pre-K, and home visiting. And we have 7 different locations all throughout the county, all the way from Kirtland, Bloomfield, here in Aztec, and in Farmington.
And who is this young man?
And this is, he's up with Tota. He works with the JIP program, and this is Esteban Rodriguez. He's one of the administrators.
Hi, Stefan.
Thank you.
And one more thing, you're also involved with Leadership New Mexico, is that
Mhm.
right? It's
Yeah.
another.
Yeah, I also, so I was also went through Leadership New Mexico as well as Leadership San Juan.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, okay, thank you.
Thank you. He was a lot taller on the billboard.
Steve.
Hi, good afternoon. I want to thank you guys for this opportunity. I really think it's a great thing that we can respect or show respect to some of these nonprofits. I work with several of them. I sit on several boards. I'm here today to represent a nonprofit I started but prior to the pandemic called the Basic Good Neighbor Foundation. And our mission and goal is to help people receive hospice services when they have the inability to pay. A lot of our hospice patients have Medicare, but there's a large population that haven't reached the Medicare age. They're underinsured, they're not insured, and they deserve access to these services. So we started the foundation to allow them the opportunity to do that. We serve transient population. We also, if someone has Medicare and they receive services, a lot of times they've exhausted their funds fighting the disease process and they require other services. They can't pay their utilities, their rent. A lot of times they have structural damage on their houses or things that they need to do to make it safe so they can get around as they lose the ability to become mobile. So we're the only nonprofit like it in San Juan County, and there's only 2 of us in the state. So thank you.
And Vince, will you let the clerk know your name?
Or, I'm sorry, Vince Moffett.
You don't have to give your date of birth or so. Just your full name.
You threw me off when you said I looked taller.
Everybody knows
Of
Vince.
course.
Everybody knows Vince.
And one more thing, Vince, you also represent Four Corners Economic Development.
Correct. Some of the boards I serve on, one of them is Four Corners Economic Development as well. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. And
Michelle. And
The tree.
Hallie and Sean.
Trio.
Good afternoon. My name is Sean Benali. I am the board chair for the Farmington Boys and Girls Club.
My name is Hallie Metter, and I am a board member for the Aztec Boys and Girls Club.
And hello, I am Michelle Myring. I am the CEO for the Boys and Girls Club of Farmington, and we also run the Bloomfield Club. The mission of all Boys and Girls Clubs is to inspire and enable all youth, especially those who need us the most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens. We do this through positive mentoring, drug abuse prevention, education, work and career and workforce preparation, and then just through sports. So I'm blessed to have amazing boards and amazing counterparts. And I also sit on the board of ECHO. I don't know if we have representation here tonight, but
Thank you.
thank you.
So, anybody else? Okay. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Leland Nolan. I am the program manager for PATH. And PATH has 3 programs at the moment. We have an emergency shelter, which is a 90-day program created to assist individuals experiencing homelessness to regain stability and independence in their lives. We also have a transitional housing program known as the Rio de Esperanza program. So once our residents or our clients complete the 90-day program in the emergency shelter, they then transition to the Rio de Esperanza transitional housing, and they're able to stay there for 2 years while they seek available housing. And our third program is the Daily Bread program, where we serve lunch between 11:30 and 12:30, Monday through Friday, to anyone in need.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Hello.
I'm short. Anna Kresge with San Juan County Partnership. We are a nonprofit organization that focuses on substance use prevention, education, and community wellness, as well as housing assistance programming, such as permanent supportive housing that supports people who may have a disability, who need help paying rent. And our prevention programming is really focused on whatever the needs are of the county based on data that we collect through YRRS or county needs assessment, which we will be completing this fall and winter to be presented to you all coming in April.
Thank you. And
Yeah, to Shay Joseph Hernandez Yenishe. I work as a chair, county commissioners. Thank you for having this recognition of nonprofits in San Juan County. I traveled in from Gariaha. It's my chapter community, just west of Shiprock. And I work for this nonprofit organization. We're based out of Albuquerque called NAEVA, NAEVA. NAEVA is a nonprofit organization working in New Mexico to organize Navajo communities for an equitable and just transition to clean energy. We work to build a community network to help implement sustainability policy and provide information on the complex energy issues. And I do have a team member. We have an office here in Farmington, or in Farmington. And I do have a team member. Her name is Wendy Atcity, who is from Herfano chapter. And so we are always in Santa Fe during the legislative session, looking at legislations that impact tribal communities. And just for reference, there are 56 Navajo chapters in New Mexico. And so we cover that whole area, those Navajo chapters, and we have a good relationship with tribal leadership on a lot of this, changing conversations when we talk about energy. And so I just, and I'm starting to get more, like, whenever people see like a windmill or a solar panel, they're always contacting me, so I'm always getting pictures, from across Navajo. But it is complicated, and that's where we just provide the education outreach. But I did get recognized 2 years ago. I won a national award for the Community Solar Act that we worked on in Santa Fe, and I received the Dr. Espinilo Jackson Solar Justice Award. Thank you very much.
All right.
Congratulations.
Miss Lisa. One more? Who's hiding back there?
Can I do one?
Yeah, you'll have to come up to the microphone because
I'm Jennifer. I'm from the Salvation Army. Lieutenant Rockwell's in Denver. And I don't do public speaking, but so I'm very, very nervous standing up here. But right now, we just started back with Aztec Utilities. I'll be over there on the second Wednesday of every month to help people out. New Mexico Gas is still on hold until October, but we have the closed bank, and basically that's all we're doing right now. So.
all right.
Thank
Thank you very
you.
much. You did great.
You did. We'll tell Christopher. You did great.
All right. We have a couple from, do you want to let Lisa go first? Aren't you gonna do one?
Commissioners, I'm on the board of Northwest Sexual Assault Services. I told somebody that and they thought that I was a victim. And I said, no, I'm a board member. But we do help a lot of women and children and occasionally men. So nobody's immune from an act of violence. But the organization does really help and assist people who are victims. So thank you.
Thank you.
Glogine Totocini.
Yeah.
You ready for me? Okay, and so I'm a member of Rotary and my husband's the president. He was supposed to be here, but I don't see him out there. So anyway, we're our nonprofit, we're global and we have a chapter here and we meet every Tuesday for lunch, have different speakers. One of our big fundraisers right now is Fly In, Dine In. It's bringing pilots from all over the state and maybe the country. And then we're serving breakfast and showing cars and all types of good things. So it's on September 23rd. So appreciate you guys coming if you're interested. Thank you.
Right. Any other comments?
Mr. Chair. I always like this day because, you know, we get to see some of the different nonprofits. And it wasn't until I got elected to the county commission and did Leadership San Juan that I truly grasped how much all your organizations help San Juan, the people of San Juan County. And it always fills my heart to hear and know what your different organizations do. So, and I know you don't hear it enough, but I just wanted to say thank you. And I know that's not, it doesn't represent the effort that you put into it, but from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Yes, and I'll just tag on to that a little bit. I think what you guys do is amazing. No matter what the group is, when we're helping people out throughout the county, I know when I was elected, I had no idea all of the organizations that did step out and help and all of the places where folks could go and get help. And it's kind of embarrassing being a school teacher for so many years and not knowing all of those organizations and be able to funnel people that way. But now up here on the commission, I hope that we're one of your best salesmen because we sure tout your accomplishments from the bench. So thank you.
Mr. Chair, I have a motion
Yes.
that we accept the proclamation as it is.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any. Motion will carry. Now we'll have, if we can have everybody come up, we'll get a photo op and just put this on the corner. Yeah. Debbie, you want me to move the?
And then we have folders with different proclamations in them. If your organization would like one, we'll put them up on the corner. You can take one as you leave.
Stand back.
All right, everybody crowd in like your friends.
How are you?
Awesome. Thank you. Sit. Back. Everybody up there, smile. 23, 1, 2, 3. Very nice. Don't forget to grab a copy of you.
Thank you.
I was thinking that you're getting ready to do something. Yeah. Thank you. I know it's solve it. All right, thank all of you again for coming in and spending time with us. Where are we at? Number 2? Consideration of preferred 5-mile bridge access and alternatives. Mr. Burrell.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. You'll recall that on April 18th of this year, you heard a presentation from representatives of AECom regarding the condition of 5-mile bridge, its deficiencies, and alternatives for transportation within the Largo Canyon area pending its inevitable retirement. You will recall that at the conclusion of that presentation, that was accompanied by a recommendation to immediately close that structure, which on May 2nd of this year, you all voted to close and decommission by resolution 22-2661. As part of the access alternatives report, which was prepared, there was a commitment and a need to get some public input on the alternatives that were being considered. We held that meeting at the end of June. It was June 29th at the fire station on Sullivan Road. The attendance record, at least by sign-in, showed 58 residents were in attendance. I suspect it was more than that, perhaps as many as 80. Those public comments are now summarized in Appendix G of the final report, which was included in your staff summary and associated packet. Just to summarize the predominant comments from that meeting, there's concerns over an increase of traffic on Sullivan Road or Road 4990 as a result of that bridge closure. Anticipating that concern, Public Works did run a traffic study on Sullivan Road 2 weeks prior and 2 weeks post closure of that bridge. An observed increase of 95 vehicles daily was seen or was counted. In my opinion, as an engineer, that's largely an imperceptible increase. You're talking of peak hour trip increases from 7 to 11 vehicles. So over the course of an hour, 4 cars come by more or 4 additional cars than you might have been seeing in the past. That being said, the perception of an increase in traffic is still there. And then just also to reiterate on traffic, the functional classification of the road remains unchanged as a result of that increase. We're still talking about a very low volume road, which is indeed the official classification by AASHTO, which is the American Association of Highway Safety and Traffic Officials. Another concern were extended travel times for folks living in Blanco Canyon, which is south of the bridge on Road 7007. Traveling to Blanco for school and post office services were really the 2 main services that we were hearing about. Traffic to Bloomfield, or at least the travel time to Bloomfield, was was largely unchanged, pre and post closure. And then just to summarize the sentiment of the people in the room, I think I could say it briefly, and they would prefer to see a bridge remain in service crossing Largo Wash. So you'll recall in the alternative study, there were 4 alternatives that were evaluated. I'll start with probably what I would say is the least likely to be implemented. That's alternative D. That was improvements to what is currently a non-maintained county road. Non-maintained meaning it has addresses on it, which is why it got a county road number. Those addresses might be associated with oil and gas development or residences. It was a lengthy right-of-way acquisition and engineering hurdle that didn't really solve the solution to the concerns that we were hearing from the residents, i.e. travel times to Blanco. No one really wanted to travel out to 550 or due west 550 from Largo Canyon or Blanco Canyon, then head north on 550 to Bloomfield. So, you know, as is summarized in the report, and I share the same opinion that implementation of alternative D should be, or really is undesirable. Both of the alternatives A and B in the report were for new bridge construction. Alternative A was for construction of a new bridge at the same location, though considerably longer than the current structure. And alternative B was for construction of a new bridge at some location to be determined west of the current location and crossing the San Juan River as opposed to Largo Canyon.
And that's the one that we may have to purchase property for?
Indeed. So Commissioner Lanier, so alternative B did involve the construction of a new road to get to and from a bridge. There would be a need for land acquisition that would follow the Uniform Relocation Act, which is what we use for all of our right-of-way purchases. Big portion of that you might not be aware of is a very detailed alternatives assessment that evaluates a number of factors, not the least of which is equity. I think there was a time in this country, certainly before my time and even many of yours, where roads were constructed with some degree of impunity to the adjacent residents, meaning the Federal Highway Administration or local DOTs or even local governments could bulldog their way through a neighborhood to build a road. That simply doesn't happen anymore because of those equity requirements that are required to be analyzed in any kind of right-of-way acquisition projects. So that being said, both of those projects quite expensive. 13.5 million and 17 million are their respective estimates today. Looking at the project timelines of an estimated five years on the low end for alternative A and 8 to 12 years in alternative B, it would be a logical expectation that those costs would significantly increase during the design phase of that project. If you look at general construction inflation costs over the past few years, perhaps it's best to throw those out because we've seen a very unstable construction market. But if you look historically, construction costs tend to increase along with kind of standard inflation of 4 to 5% annually. So over a 5-year, design term, you're looking at a 25% increase in cost from today's estimate. And then on that 8 to 12 year period, you may see something as high as a 50% increase in estimated construction costs from what we have today. Not included in those construction estimates are the design costs. A fairly standard design estimate is about 10% of your construction value. So estimating design costs for each of those projects in the $1.5 to $2 million range, with again a design and permitting period of up to 5 years. I've said publicly that funding for this project will be a challenge, or either alternative A and B. That doesn't mean we're not going to try. We continue to look at potential grant opportunities to fund a project like that. I've identified one, which we'll bring to you in September for your consideration. It's the USDOT's Reconnecting Communities and Neighborhoods program. It's an 80-20 federal local match program. So for $1.5 million design project, it would be a $300,000 local match. I think it's a good litmus test on how this project would fare in a federal grant environment or a competitive federal grant environment. Meaning if we can't identify design money through a grant program, it's very unlikely that we're going to identify construction funding through a federal design program. So again, staff will continue to look for opportunities to fund a bridge replacement project, either through alternative A or B. I think both have their merits. Obviously, alternative A is cheaper and quicker to implement. I think alternative B likely eliminates someone like me 30 years from now coming to the county commission and saying this bridge is failing in Largo Wash because of the uncontrolled nature of that drainage. We need to build another one. So that's something I think that needs to be considered as we pursue those grants. I think we can pursue the grants independent of a selection from you all. I mean, we have no preference at this point in time, and let the design process and the alternatives process that would precede the design really flush out the best solution to a bridge project. So again, I'll have the first opportunity drafted for you in September. There'll be a need for a supporting resolution if you all choose to do so. So expect that at either the first or second meeting in September. There's a due date on that grant. I think of September 28th.
So the staff recommendation would be the C.
So, I think if you read the staff summary, we're not asking you today to make a selection saying we're going to put all our eggs in this basket. I think that would be unwise. The Daily Times article you might have read a couple days ago suggested that you would be. That's not what I'm here to ask you. You certainly can. I'm here to present really an initial action plan on how we want to proceed with kind of resolving a need for some additional transportation infrastructure in Largo Canyon. So I'll get to that now. What is our ask today is regarding alternative C, which you recall were improvements to Sullivan Road. I will say Sullivan Road is an adequate road for the traffic it currently sees. There are, in my opinion, two, potentially three priority projects. Well, three priority projects, two issues to all-weather service, if you will. There are two primary low water crossings on that road that if you were to encounter that crossing during a runoff event and obey the direction of the sign that's in front of you that says if water is rushing, don't cross, you could be subject to a substantial delay at that location. That may be the inconvenience of living in a rural setting. However, if one of those runoff incidents were to coincide with some kind of major emergency, that really does create a problem if there's a delay in emergency response. So there are, again, two low water crossings, one's at milepost 5 and one's at milepost 8.5 that we're going to request design funding for. There's a permitting process, a drainage analysis, some geotechnical work that needs to happen. Very similar to the two bridges we're replacing, one in the Flora Vista neck of the woods and one between Aztec and Flora Vista. You'll recall that Jim Cox provided a request during our ARPA reallocations. So we would propose arch culverts at those locations as opposed to the current low water crossings. Again, that provides the all-weather reliability that I think would be appropriate for what is essentially a dead-end road in the absence of that bridge. The other project is at Armada Wash, or Armenta Wash. Right now, there's a culvert bank there that was installed sometime in the early 90s. That was previously a low water crossing. It's right there by the Hammond Conservancy building, if you're familiar with the location. Last summer, as you might recall, we saw some really unprecedented flooding in that area. And that three 14-foot barrels, I think is what is there, overtopped the road. We saw some significant road damage. That was documented, I think, again, in the newspaper, as well as KOB ran a story on it, I think, on the news. That could be a once-in-a-lifetime event. but weather conditions seem to be changing. I mean, this year, we've had no runoff events that we've really had to deal with. So when looking at an all-weather road, this summer, what's there is proving to be just fine. But if you look at last summer, we would have been experiencing significant delays. So what may be good 360 days a year, I'm gonna suggest probably isn't good enough in a dead end circumstance like we're currently have on Sullivan Road. So what I'm here to ask for today, and would be captured in a budget adjustment probably in September, is $450,000 to fund the design of those 3 projects I just described. Again, we're in the process of the design of 2 very similar projects. About $150,000 each is what the cost is. I suspect it'll be the same for these. I also suspect that if the preferred installation is engineering or has sound engineering behind it, meaning we can do an arch culvert, that's something my staff could install, with our equipment and our crews. At probably something on the tune of $250,000 per each. We could probably fund those through LGRF funding or Transportation Project Fund funding if we didn't want to fund those with capital reserves, or even frankly our operating budget. We carry roughly $250,000 for annual drainage improvements. Those are often spread out over many projects. Again, it's been a dry year. We haven't had to spend much of that money yet. We may indeed be able to commit our annual budget to one of those projects. So that's my presentation for you today. I'm certainly expecting you might have some questions, and I'll be happy to do my best to answer.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
So is it fair to say that regardless of what's happening with the bridge, that you would have come to us with these needs for Sullivan Road?
Indeed, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Beckstead. Obviously the closure of the bridge more accelerated than we had anticipated. It's forced the issue. This is probably something we would have tried to meter out quietly, if you will. It wouldn't have been a necessary ask.
And all at once?
Yeah, it might have been something I could have accomplished again with annual budget. We do have money for projects.
Was it on your list of things to do?
It wasn't on a priority list. I can say that. It was on a list of needs for drainage projects, but it wasn't on something we intended to do this year. Now it is, or something I would recommend that we attempt to accomplish as quickly as possible. And also that even if, a miracle were to happen and $15 million were to show up today to fund a bridge construction project, we're still 5 years away from implementation of that. So again, to make sure we're providing a reliable and safe road on Road 4990, I would recommend we get those done as soon as possible.
Mr. Chair, this is listed as an action item. So I suppose the motion, and I'll make a motion and you can keep discussion open, but I would make a motion that we move to do the budget adjustment for the $450,000 to do the 3 designs. And outside of that motion, I would encourage you to definitely look at those grants so that we can try to find funding for the bridge. I don't want to lose sight of that. It's something that the community wants. So I would encourage you to look at all the grants, find as many grants as you can so that we can try to find some funding to make sure that that'll work. But in the meantime, we need to make sure that the road that we have is adequate for the traffic and the conditions. So I'd move that we do a budget adjustment for the $450,000 for the 3 design studies.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, now, with this motion, just with that 450,000, and that would be just to fix the low water crossings only, right?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner McDaniel, it would be a design project for the 2 low water crossings, one at mile 5 and one at mile 8.5, headed east from 550, and then also a redesign of that culvert bank, which we saw significant flooding at last year.
I can name about 4, maybe 1 or 2 more than you may be thinking of that may need attention over there. But whatever the case is, But I just want to, make sure that this is not an alternative or we're improving the whole road or anything. I just would like the uh, low water crossings that needed fixed and still us pursue the bridge. So, Mr. Beck said, was that your motion, I guess?
Well, a motion, we don't have the funding for the bridge. I
Right.
encouraged him to keep seeking grants and
Right.
finding funding for that. But in the meantime, to take care of the major problems that are on Sullivan Road, and to fund the design to fix those major problems.
Right, exactly. I want to still pursue the bridge. I like what you said about the grants and your knowledge of the grants. So,
So I'll second the motion and there can be more discussion.
All right. Any other discussion? I would just like to make sure that everybody's clear that by making the improvements on the road, we are not abandoning working towards the bridge. And so, as a commission, I think we were, like Mr. Beck said, we'll be asking you to keep reaching out and find as much grant money out there as you can. If capital outlay become available, I think it's important to get a pot of money started, and then it's easier for people to contribute when the pot money has started. So,
Mr. Chair.
yes, sir.
So once, if you are able to find the grant money to get the design of the bridge, is it a lot easier to then seek funding I'm sure it is whether it's through the legislature or through grants. I'm sure that's the first hurdle that we got to get through. So I think we need to work towards that first hurdle and then start trying to figure out if we can find the money for the actual building of the bridge.
Indeed. So I will add, Mr. Chair, typically for a project of this dollar amount, federal funds are really what's going to fund something that large. Capital outlay, never going to get there. Transportation projects fund, not likely to get there. So to design a project for a federal construction grant, we need to design it by a federal transportation handbook, which would be done with the oversight of NMDOT. We can't get that oversight if we use state funds to design it, meaning we've got to run federal the whole way through. So that's where I'm really targeting my grant efforts at this point in time, not toward capital outlay, not toward other state programs, really looking exclusively at federal money that would get us into a federal design project that we'd have the oversight from the feds for the environmental phase, the right-of-way phase, because there still will be right-of-way needs. Granted, they're coming from the Bureau of Land Management at the 5 Mile crossing if we go that way. So that's where we're targeting our grant efforts at this point in time. Obviously, the pandemic resulted in a great deal of federal money being available. Had a project like this been fully designed, its chances of funding are much greater than to answer Commissioner Beckstead's question. And it really makes no sense to chase construction money until we get a design anyway, because design takes a while and grants have timelines. So we'd be looking at a grant reversion if we couldn't spend the money in 3 years. So again, design funds, hopefully we can find them federally. If we can't, maybe we have another discussion about how we might be able to fund this with state funding. But for now, I'm putting my eggs in a federal funded basket, if you will.
All right.
Mr. Chair, this is just a comment. I was reading an article when they built Night Horse Lake, and they discussed that first in 1920, and then it was in around 2003 that construction began, and it was completed in 2011, and it cost $500 million. So I know you know how the money comes from, so it's going to take a lot of work. But for those people who came to the public meeting, you know, this really matters to them. And I'm glad that the county, we're doing the best that we can to accommodate those people who utilize, you know, that area and cross that bridge. So thank you for that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, any other discussion? We'll put it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion will carry.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, what number are we on?
Three.
Three. Consideration of letter of energy to energy company seeking funds. Mr. Steven Saavedra.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Board of County Commission. As you may recall, at the July 26, 2023 staff commission meeting, a request to submit a letter to the energy companies was requested. As a result, this letter, which is in the commission agenda packet, comes before you for your consideration. I'd be happy to read the letter. Again, this letter addresses the contribution that the energy companies make in and around the Largo Canyon and San Juan County as a whole. Additionally, this request is completely voluntary. And with that said, I will stand for any questions or read the letter if you so choose.
I don't, we need to read it. So.
We don't need to.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Saavedra?
How many different energy companies do you anticipate reaching out to?
How many do we anticipate reaching out to, Mr. Chair, Commissioner? All the energy companies within the area, I believe off the top of my head, there was 5 energy companies that have been identified.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioner Beckstead, 5 that had a large volume of assets. There are more in the basin, but it didn't seem appropriate for those that had a small number of assets to
Versus
send.
service companies or.
Exactly. So we were going to focus on the top 5 within the canyon if you were agreeable to that.
And of those 5, how many have we talked to so far?
Mr. Chair, we've talked to one.
Just one.
This will be our main outreach to try to get some funding.
Correct. If you so choose.
You have a question?
Yes, ma'am.
So what I'm wondering is, would it be a better face-to-face conversation to have with individuals? Because how many of these companies that are being solicited for funding are donation impacted by what we're trying to raise money for?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Fortner, I think that's a great question. I think face-to-face is always a good avenue. I think this is formally to put something on the record so that we could start that conversation with them. And hopefully we could have a productive conversation in that if they're willing to contribute any funds and the reasons why, because they're in close proximity to their wells and so forth. But I think this is just a start, and then hopefully that conversation can carry on and be fruitful.
And then, so whenever the other bridge was condemned and we closed it, were these companies that also, the conversation was had with them to let them know that the bridge was going to be closed, and they gave comment on it as well?
Commissioner, I believe you're referring to 10 Mile Bridge. Is that the bridge in?
Okay, maybe I'm confused on which bridge we're talking about. Are we talking about 5 Mile?
This letter is to, Commissioner, this letter is for 5 Mile. I believe in the past, San Juan County had a productive conversation and was actually able to get funds from energy companies for 10 Mile Bridge for that project.
Okay, but this letter's going for 5 Mile Bridge.
Commissioner, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so have those, were those companies already told what was going on and they're aware of the impact?
Mr. Chairman and Commissioner Fortner, we did reach out to the largest oil and gas producer within the canyon by far in terms of number of wells, and that's Hillcorp. And so they were aware. Of course, there was also a lot of media that followed the bridge report that we were provided to the commission back in April. Of course, the closure that ultimately took place via resolution, and then certainly awareness on the public meeting that we advertised in June. There were representatives of other oil and gas producers at the public meeting, as well as service companies that were in attendance at our June meeting at Small Road Fire Station.
And how will this benefit them with soliciting of funds from them?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner, again, that's a great question. How it would benefit them, of course, there is a bridge currently there in terms of logistics for them to get to one oil well or the other oil well. It just cut down on their time. Of course, it's a benefit not only for their logistic concerns, but it's just a way to give back to the community. There's obviously a need, as Director Perel had presented. At the June meeting, there was a sentiment to keep the bridge in operation. And so this would be another avenue for the energy companies to give back to the community.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Stark, there's a lot of Navajo citizens who use that bridge, and Navajo Nation works with some of the energy companies. So I think that they should be included, and whoever wants to name that bridge after themselves with all that money they got, that would be nice. But please include Navajo Nation, I don't know, whatever energy companies we have out there. Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
And more maybe a suggestion, instead of throwing it in the US mail, maybe staff could go hand deliver. If it's only 5 locations, perhaps go set an appointment and hand deliver the letter. Might be more impactful than sending it in the mail.
Be happy to do so.
Mr. Chairman, if there's no other discussion, I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
Okay, I would motion that we reach out to these oil and gas companies or related energy companies by writing a letter and either mail it or hand deliver it. I guess we could hand deliver it too, like Mr. Beckstead said. I don't see how it could do any harm. I think that it'd be a good thing to do in conjunction with the last action item that we just talked about. I know that there's probably 34 families up there, like Ms. Toyicini said, that they're, if you will, stranded. But I think this would be a good thing to reach out to different entities, and we may be able to identify some more. So I'll put that motion before you.
All right.
Second.
Right, any other discussion? I would just like to add that, I want to make sure that the oil companies know that we appreciate all that they do in our community, because not only do they do their own production, but so many of them give to these groups that are sitting out here today. They give funds to them. I know the county, when we reach out to them, they are the first one to come to aid for whatever we might need. So I want to make sure that in the presentation to them, that we are not expecting them to go up and above beyond what they've already done, just if it's in their best interest.
Exactly.
So, all right. Any other? Okay, we'll put it to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion will carry. Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Consideration of approval resolution 23-24-10. Oh, that's Stephen again. Sorry. I was gonna send you away.
Mr. Chair, Board of County Commission, resolution number 23-24-10 is a request to apply for the Trails Plus grant. This is out of the Outdoor Recreation Division, which comes from the Economic Development Department, State of New Mexico. This is the 4th cycle of this grant application that started, I believe, in 2020. And the state of New Mexico has now allocated over $10 million to this grant application process. Come the end of the month will be the 1st cycle, and San Juan County is seeking to apply. There is a match component of a 1-to-1, and San Juan County has identified a master recreation plan for San Juan County as the cause for this grant application. The cycle or the funding limit is 25,000 to 99,000. Of course, that is a cap. And so therefore, a master plan identifying or creating a blueprint for not only the trails for bikes, but for hiking, for boating, for rafting, for off-road and fishing would be all part of this plan. I just want to make clear, a lot of times when we talk about trails, it's always associated with biking. There's a lot of things that don't get included in this that our community has, such as horseback riding. There's a lot of ditch banks that could be utilized for such. There is boating, obviously, with the Cedar, out in Cedar Hill, the new boat ramp. That'd be all part of this blueprint so that there would be a more collective and cohesive approach. Cox Canyon is an area where it's well renowned, yet a lot of folks don't know how to access the area. It's quite difficult. And so that would all be included. Of course, it's supposed to help for outdoor recreation, but more importantly, it's supposed to help with economic development within our area. So with that, I'll stand for any questions. Again, this is just a request to apply for this grant with a 1-to-1 match.
All right.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
It seems like right now there's a lot of grants out there for trails and outdoor recreation. So it seems like to take advantage of this opportunity is good for our area. And I'm glad to see that we're going to seek funds and apply, and because I remember in college there was a guy taking the classes, The Art of Leisure, and right now I think that's what people want, is somewhere I can go, for my health, for enjoyment of the natural beauty in the area. So I'm glad we're taking advantage, like I said, of this real, this wonderful opportunity, because they're out there, these grants right now, and then they'll go away. So very good. Thank you.
I just want to say I agree. And I think it's great to have a master plan so that we really know what we do need and what we have, and bring it all together, because we've got some great things happening here. And just in light of outdoor rec, I just think it'll identify how we put signs up, the signage, roads, all that type of stuff. Because, for somebody even in our area that wants to go out, do these activities, sometimes it's a little intimidating to start off, because if you're not familiar, where do you start? So I think it's a great idea.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, and I think it's safe to say that if we don't have a master plan, there's some grants we can't apply for. Is that fair to say?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Beckstead, yes, that is correct.
So we've got to have the plan if we want to go after the funds. So I think that that's what we ought to do. So I would move to approve the grant application for the outdoor recreation master plan.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion will carry. Sir.
Don't run them off. you.
Nope, don't go anywhere. I was paying attention this time. Consideration of resolution 23-24-11.
Mr. Chair, Board of County Commission. Resolution number 23-24-11 is a request to apply to the Community Development Block Grant, otherwise known as CDBG. County held 2 public meetings on June 26th and at the Lower Valley Senior Center in Kirtland, and on June 28th here in this county building in Aztec, New Mexico. At that meeting, there was conversations about public safety, making improvements to roads, sidewalks, and overall accessibility to public facilities. As a result of the CDBG application, there is a threshold based on your household income. San Juan County, it has a relatively high household income, and so it makes it very difficult to apply for this grant based on that. Nevertheless, we could apply for ADA improvements. That is a way to utilize this grant and to try to be in compliance with the Department of Justice. San Juan County is seeking to apply again for the CDBG grant with ADA improvements to county facilities. And with that, I will stand for any questions.
Did I miss it? Did that one come with a match?
Commissioner? Yes, sir. That does come with a match. It is, we are seeking 750,000, and that is the 10% match would be 75,000.
All right. Any other questions? No?
Mr. Chair, sounds like a great return on our money, so I'd move we approve resolution 23-24-11, the CDBG application.
I'd second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any. Motion will carry. All right. Thank you, Mr. Saavedra. You can leave now. We got our money's worth out of you today. Consideration of approval of resolution 2324. Miss Wayne.
Mr.
Oh,
Chair.
there you are.
I'm right here, yeah. And commissioners. State statute 33-3-4 requires that the governing body shall inspect the detention center annually, which Mr. Sawyer's discussed with you all. As of today, I understand 4 commissioners have inspected and reported on the detention facility. And resolution 23-24-09 it just reports on that inspection, finding everything satisfactory.
Did everybody enjoy their tour? Because I know it's going to come out. I'm the one that hasn't made it yet.
Oh, you didn't go?
Not yet.
Oh, not yet? Well, I mean,
You're there all the time. It's not fair.
well, and, you know, I didn't want to have to, I didn't want to have to point it out, but I mean, in looking at the dates that these were performed, it would appear as though I was the first to do it, on July 26, 2023 at 11:43 a.m.
Oh.
I just, you know, I don't know if that's appropriate for the record. I just wanted to point that out, and I would invite you to go out and inspect the facility.
Can we strike any of that?
Mr. Chair, the new equipment that we got for the scanning of the contraband, I got to see that, and I always think of the safety of the workers, especially those that work in the detention center. So I felt really comfortable this time that I inspected. Other times I was a little more apprehensive, but
Mr. Webb wanted to scan me when I went in, and I told him no.
but it was good. It's good.
I would agree with that. It's pretty amazing. I think they've improved by, there's a reduction in about 80% of what's gone in. And
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Fortner, the use of the body scanning equipment on intake, as well as an analyst that we have that works on trying to intercept information within the facility to reduce the amount of contraband and drugs that try to make their way in there. It's been phenomenal to see the decrease in that, and ultimately the benefit to, you know, the detainees as well as employees that then have to deal with some of the issues that arise from the use of those items. So thank you for noticing that. Yes, it's been a great year at the detention center.
All right, this is an action item.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve resolution number 23-24-09, the inspection of the detention center.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion will carry. Thank you. Report from County Manager Mike Stark.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. A brief report tonight because I know we have a number of staff members that'd like to provide a report here in a few minutes. I know Mr. Hill and Mr. Danzy were not able to make tonight's meeting, but certainly wanted to extend my thanks to all the departments that supported the county fair, and specifically the parks and facility staff. They really put a lot of time and effort into making that a great event for our community. You know, we're the largest county fair in the state. almost 90,000 visitors through the gates. I think it's something to be really proud of the show that's put on for all the citizens, the youth. He shared with us this morning. I don't know, they don't have official numbers yet, but it's the largest livestock sale in the history of the fair, maybe close to $900,000. That are going to go directly to benefit our youth in the community here. So that's impressive. Just as we recognize nonprofits tonight, a lot of the companies that help to sponsor the kids that are taking the time to raise an animal, a lot of time and effort, and a lot of life lessons learned from doing so. It's just phenomenal to see that kind of support here. And so I just want to, like I said, say thank you again to our staff across the county in a lot of different capacities that participate in making the fair an annual success. National Public Lands Day is coming up. We're collaborating and cooperating once again with the Bureau of Land Management to help clean up our public lands on Saturday, September 23rd from 8 to noon. We've got a flyer now that identifies the 4 dumpster locations. And so as some of you have been asking for that, we've got that available, and we'll provide that to you after the meeting so you can get that out to folks to assist us in our strategic initiative to help make us shine and clean up San Juan County. And our public lands play a big part in that. That's where we go to recreate. So when we're talking about the master plan, and I have no doubt that a lot of the opportunities for recreation that will be identified will end up on public lands. And we're blessed to have those wide open spaces, those unique visual spaces where folks can recreate and enjoy the great outdoors. But nobody wants to enjoy the great outdoors when you've got a pile of trash next to your trail. So come join us that day to help with that effort. And I just have one last item. I'd like to recognize Sharice Snell, our GIS manager. This is it's her last county commission meeting, but it won't be her last commission meeting, as she recently accepted a position with the San Juan Water Commission. She served San Juan County for 15 years. And I want to recognize her efforts. She has been part of some big initiatives here in helping to build out our map portal, and we won a strategic, one of those awards on the wall as a result of her efforts in helping to develop and build out the Cleanup San Juan app, which is specifically for cleaning up public lands. And that was something Sharice was able to do. And anyway, I just want to say thank you for your service to San Juan County, and we won't miss you from the community, which is good. You're just right down the street, still serving the community in a different way. But thanks for everything you've done for us.
Thank you guys for all this support for the years.
Yeah. Thank you. And I hear the chairman of the Water Commission is excited to see you. He's a much younger guy. He's a lot nicer over there.
Well, I just want to say I'll miss having you around. You've been a huge asset, so good luck.
All right, anything else?
That concludes my report. I know we have a number of staff members who'd like to report from tonight too.
Reports from elected officials and department heads.
The benefit of being on the front row.
She's been trying to get up all night.
I should take you up on that to begin with. I would like for the MWRC staff to step forward, please. I'm so happy to introduce you to some of our new staff. We're fully staffed now. I'm so excited.
Come on up.
This is Bianca Thompson. She's the Behavioral Health Services Supervisor. She takes over the role as the MWRC manager and direct line supervisor to the staff. So if you have any questions, general questions, call Bianca. If you have problems or concerns or complaints, call me. So she's been with us just over a year, started as our case manager in May of last year. And so we promoted her from within. So we're really glad to have Bianca. Wendy is our administrative, well, what did we call you? Administrative assistant? No, but she's more than that. She does a lot of financial stuff. She's been there just over a year. Natasha, I guess we lost one, but Natasha Giroux is our Peer Navigator 1. She just started the end of June.
Yeah.
And so she is taken off, she's caught on, and she's doing a wonderful job. We welcome Jesus Grijalva. He's our Peer Navigator 2, and we stole him from ASD, and I am not ashamed at all. Our lead navigator had to leave. I think she had to go pick up her daughter because Sandra Sice comes back to us after a year. She was gone. She went to Cottonwood. But she's back with us. She's our lead navigator. We're doing a lot of great things. And so I just want to introduce you to our new staff. So happy to have them in the office. They're doing a great job. It's a wonderful team.
What?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all you do.
I did want to briefly share a little success story, if I could take another couple of minutes.
Absolutely.
So Natasha and I worked, yeah, if you want to hand those out just to the commissioners, if there's an extra one, you can give one to Mike.
Thank you.
Gentleman came to us, he was actually referred to us from the Bonnie Della Senior Center. His truck broke down a little over a year ago in Farmington. And I need one too, please. And this is a list of the connections that were made with the help of our staff. He was homeless. He didn't want to stay at PATH because of his perception of PATH and the rules and regulations. So he mainly stayed at the expansion shelter, the winter shelter, and on the streets. He's been homeless this whole time. Had a lot of issues, a lot of needs. He came to us saying he wanted help with transportation. He needed help getting a job. He needed safety. And what was the other one? I forgot, Natasha. But there was 4 main: medical care, laundry detergent. Okay. So yeah, he's concerned. He's job hunting. He needed to go take a shower. He needed access to shower and get clean clothes. And
He was just traveling through and broke down.
broke down over a year ago in Farmington. So he's been on the streets of Farmington over a year. So he came to us at the end of June. So over those 6 weeks to last week, our staff helped him apply for all the housing assistance we could find. And of course, everything, there's a waiting list, okay? From the HUD preliminary application, we gave him grant funded 1-ride bus passes. We connected him to New Mexico Workforce Development. We actually then provide him grant funded monthly bus pass because he was on public benefits, so it's a half price. So it's like, that's a great deal because he was trying to get a job. You have to go places, not just apply online, but that's kind of the first step, but also interviews and all the running around that you have to do to become successful. We helped him get a dental appointment at PMS. We helped him get a New Mexico driver's license, grant funded, helped him apply for jobs. We have a public computer kiosk in the office. We actually, Jesus had a great idea and he's developed a job board in the office. It's for jobs that aren't advertised online, jobs we see around the community. So kudos to Jesus and the team who are helping on that project. All the printing, scanning, emailing to all the agencies that we connect with. He did eventually, maybe about 3 weeks ago, decide it's okay to maybe go to PATH. And so we were so thrilled because he can get regular showers, he can get better quality food, he can wash his clothes. We also helped him get extra clothing from the ARC through a voucher program that we have with them. So we also coordinate case management services with PATH. he's taken advantage of our donation closet, including a lunchbox because he finally got a job. General insurance information, printing out his Medicaid card because you need that in order to get lots of different things. We also provide mail service. We let people send their mail to us temporarily. Because if you order a new Medicaid card, but you don't have an address, it's really hard. It's really hard. Our staff helped him apply for cash assistance through the Yes New Mexico website. So we're just absolutely pleased to tell you he got a job at the city of Farmington. He started this past Monday. So he's doing great. Does anybody want to comment about this client? This is Natasha.
Hi, my name's Natasha. Everybody hear me okay?
No, you
Up here
talk.
then. Yeah. I just wanted to say that it's been a group effort from everybody, you know, making a job board and just sitting with him, helping him with his job applications or even just talking to him because when he first came in that he was really guarded and he didn't want to talk too much about anything and just everything was why when we would ask him about do you have an ID or where are you staying, and over the weeks it's been really lenient. He's been not lenient, but he's been very open with all of us and he's just been overall really communicating and he's been happy and he's been giving me updates as well as everybody else to let us know what he's doing and he's been really thankful and we've just been happy that he was able to come in.
He's worked really hard. I mean, we don't work harder than they do. That's what I tell all the clients if I get to talk to them, which is a lot. We're not going to work harder than you. So you've got to put in a lot of effort. And so this is not a typical, I mean, this is kind of a common story. But I just wanted to share this with you. I was so thrilled. I just fired off an email to the bosses and I wanted to share that with you all. So.
Well, thank you. Great teamwork, all of
Can
you.
I, Steve, I just want to say thank you too, because this is what it's all about. And so I appreciate the update because it really puts in a story format of what's going on. This is just one person. So thank you.
Mr. Chair, absolutely my favorite part of county commission meetings is hearing updates from these specific updates. So I would much rather hear these updates than Mr. Stark's,
I understand.
you know, his reports. So you're welcome anytime you have these reports because absolutely my favorite part of a commission meeting.
Thank you. I'm so proud of what we're doing in the office and out in the community, just above and beyond. Thank you, team.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
You knew you weren't getting away without a tag, right?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, my name is Roberta, Human Resources, but I have with me this evening, Catherine Olson. She was one of our adult coordinators that helped us this past summer with the Summer Enrichment Internship Program. This is the third year that we've been doing this program, and this is funded through a grant through the New Mexico PED program. We applied for it, but these guys are the ones that do all the hard work. They're the heroes of the program. They're the ones that get the students. Of course, we process, we hire them and all of that, but they're the ones that work with the students, get in place, make sure that they're at work, provide them training skills, whatever they need for them. So I've asked her to come down and they provided a presentation this morning's meeting. I've asked her to provide a summary of the program and how it went for them. And I'm going to turn it over now to Catherine.
Hi.
Well, welcome.
The chair and I worked for several years together and as.
Don't say how many.
Again, I'm Catherine Olson, and I'm the Career and College Readiness Specialist for Aztec Schools. And I've been with Aztec Schools, this is my 9th year. But what I'm sharing today is about an exceptional program that we've had in the works for 3 years. It's in combination with the PED and the county, and it really is a glimpse into our future community workforce. And our emphasis, as you're going to see when we go through some of the data and some of the experiences these students have had, and then what we're doing going into the fall, not just Aztec schools, Farmington schools, and we're hoping we can expand this to our periphery communities. So if you take a look, we've got, this is the number that we had, 62 interns this summer. We probably would have had more, but the program with the PED came out and they were notifying the county a little bit too late. And once students leave for the summer, it is next to impossible to engage them because they're on another plane. But when they're in front of us, they're really engaged. And hopefully next year, if the program is supported again by the PED and the county, will continue to just triple these numbers. Next slide. During the 6-week period, we have workshops every 2 weeks. We focus on basically, some people call them soft skills, we call them human skills. Those things that many, all the industries are very much, they communicate how much we need to focus, not necessarily on what that specific skill set is as far as the human skills. And one of the questions that we would always ask at the start of those workshops is, where do you work? And again, amongst the 62 peers, they'd be talking about this. Where do you work? What are the duties of the day? And then what is the challenge that you faced and how did you overcome it? And it is just so much fun to hear the responses. You would hear students say things like, I know I'll never have an office job. Or like I was mentioning to our department heads this morning, we had 5 in a local dental practice, and one, all she saw was saliva and blood and said, no way, I'm never going to do this. And we were able to move her to another community partner. So it is, when we think about the why again of high school, this is where it's at, is getting them engaged with the community. If it means that they have 3 internships and it's all thumbs down, never want to do that, then we've done our job because it helps them, again, be able to streamline another direction. Okay, next slide. Here's just a breakdown, 6 weeks, 20 hours a week they worked. We had the support of the county, 100%. HR helped us with the whole internship, the whole application process, as well as payroll. And then there's the total of how much each student earned over the experience. I would say 99%, and I don't have that totals in front of me, but I would say 99% were successful. And the one that had chosen to step out was because she had another job and needed to make more money. So I'd consider that a success as well. But there's internship coordinators, myself, Colby from Farmington High School, and Janelle Cummins, our CT director, who is planning to be with us today. Here's a couple pictures that we'll just move through as far as some placements in MSU Ag. We have Adjusted Chiropractic. They were just all over. You're going to see, I think, 44 local businesses or community-wide businesses that were engaged in this opportunity this summer. We had so many local businesses that expressed interest as we were moving through the placement of interns, and we just didn't have enough interns. So again, as we move into the fall with the different programs that are in our county schools, we'll continue to build on these internship sites. And I have a little something I'm just going to pass out here, and this is just something specific to Aztec schools. We're just working on continuing to engage our community partners, and this goes countywide. We also are working on a coalition with Farmington schools, and again, would like to take it even further, Kirtland, Bloomfield, where we can have a countywide coalition of work-based learning opportunities for students. We're working closely with Milo McMinn and Liz Galvin over at the Farmington schools, and again, we want to take it further. Next slide, please. Here's some of the skills with Aztec Municipal Schools that we're working on. Again, those human skills. These are taken directly from the Department of Labor, but when we meet with our industry partners, they are reflective of what they need to see in the workplace. And this is, again, a little bit of the paper pamphlet I just passed out as far as ways to get involved, so that we can continue to get our students out there working with local businesses. Next slide. And there we go.
Oh,
All right. Thank you.
any comments? I'd just like to see Aztec leading the way.
Mr. Chair, I like the inclusion of the true colors. When I was a principal and my staff went through that, I understood them more.
Mhm.
I needed more blues and greens.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
the time here. Thank you.
Thank you. And it was a joy to work with you. I know how hard you really work.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. I know you're all intimately familiar with our 5-year strategic plan and the associated Make Us Shine initiative. Pleased to let you know that we were the recipient of 2 grants that will help continue to move that initiative forward. The first being a grant from the New Mexico Environment Department through their recycling and illegal dumping program. We had applied for a youth education campaign, planned to create a kind of a youth activity workbook targeted at K through 3rd graders in the 4 school districts here in the county. Would certainly be interested to hear your thoughts on any trash Scott that would be appropriate for the campaign. I know Oscar the Grouch is taken and probably trademarked, but I think Mike, the affable county manager, probably is not. Just an idea. And
Can we dress him up?
and the second grant was actually one that Commissioner Totocini had brought to our attention. It's through the New Mexico Tourism Department, the Clean and Beautiful grant. We received funding for 2 additional free dumpster days, which we'll incorporate into our free dumpster weekends at our transfer station. So wanted to make you aware of those.
Good job, Commissioner.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Any other department heads?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
this is probably with the county clerk, but August 29th is when the last day to file for school board positions. So
Are you gonna run?
I don't know if I can have 2 elected offices. I'm not sure.
Sure, they would.
It would be
I'm
great.
sure Mr. Stark will be looking into that for you. I would just, if everybody's done, I'd just like to add on to what Mr. Stark had to say about the county fair. It's amazing what goes on out there. And my add-on would be the fair board.
Yes.
And the fair board, I had the pleasure of working with them a little bit this year and they work very, very hard. Lots and lots of hours, pretty good arguments sometimes. And I just want to make sure that we recognize that they put on a super great fair for New Mexico and San Juan County. And I'm going to really push hard next year for them to change the rules of the outhouse race. I think there was some insider trading going on there, but Taco Bell did win best of show. Dead last, but we were best of show. Any other comments? All right. Comments and input from the general public. Comments are accepted in person, limited to 3 minutes, and the subject the commission has not previously discussed or formal action has not been taken. No formal action will be taken at this meeting that relates to the comments or input from the general public. Any general public? All right. Not seeing any and not having any further business. Meeting adjourned.